Hey there, race fans. It's Race Day Top 5 with me, Frank 5. Happy 4th of July to every NASCAR fan, every American, every citizen in the United States. This is a day to be thankful of the freedoms that we have. And what better way to celebrate Independence Day with some good old-fashioned boys from South Carolina and North Carolina go racing in honor of all the troops that have served in the military and every fan that just loves true American sports. And NASCAR totally fits that category. We went road course racing today, and the road course king came out on top. Number 1, Chase Elliott picks up his second NASCAR Cup Series victory of the season, winning at Road America today in NASCAR's long-awaited return to that facility. 56 years since the last race was won by Tim Flock. Elliott picked up the win in today's Jockey Made in America 250. I know that sounds like a weird name, but that's exactly what it's called. Captured the win today over Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, and Denny Hamlin. Quite an eventful day and weekend, shall we say, for our road course king / reigning cup champion / most popular driver in NASCAR. They didn't really get a lot of laps in practice yesterday because there were a lot of incidents on the racetrack during the practice session, which didn't give a lot of the teams time to get long runs in on the racetrack and figure out how good their car was going to be come qualifying. The 9 team was 14th in practice, and then qualifying today didn't really work in their favor. They were snake bitten as they went out on 2 runs, and both of them didn't count because they had incidents that happened on the racetrack, including Bubba Wallace stalling in the middle of the backstretch near Canada Corner because the transmission broke. So the 9 team had to start from 34th, but they methodically worked their way through the field, smart, decisive, and did well when it came to the strategy. The 9 team put themselves in position in the final stage with guys like Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, all up there battling for the win. The 9 teams showed up in the final stage when it mattered the most and were able to take the lead and hold that track position. They did have a late race caution when Anthony Alfredo spun around and went into the gravel, which caused a caution, and that put everybody within their fuel window to make it on the end because the fuel window was 17 to 19 laps, so pretty much everybody could pit when it hit 19 laps to go. Then the 9 team was able to get out in front after a couple laps on the restart and pass Kyle Busch and drove off by almost 6 seconds to win his second race of the season, which puts Chase Elliott third on NASCAR's winning list when it comes to road courses overall. He's third behind 2 of the greats in Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. Hate to say it, you two, but you've got some company right behind you. And the 9 team, just continue the road course dominance and get some momentum back. The last 3 weeks for Chase Elliott and the Napa 9 team have kind of been rough. They had a disqualification at Nashville for having 5 loose lug nuts on one of the rear tires. They had a subpar weekend in Pocono where they finished 12th in the first race after they got hit in the rear end late in the going, early in the race by Ryan Preece, apologies. And the final race on Sunday, they ran the top 5 but got loose under Christopher Bell and pretty much put a right front fender rub on the 9 team, and they had to pit twice to get that fender rub fixed and pretty much cost them a good finish. But today they bounced back at a track where Elliott even admitted he kind of, he hadn't been here since 2015 in an Xfinity car. He's ran here twice, both times in the top 5 in overall finish, but he kind of didn't have his mojo all weekend. But as the race was able to begin today and as the race progressed, he got his mojo back when it came to this facility, remembering how to brake, when to shift, all that, and timing it right. The 9 team just executed today, particularly in the final stage. They just nailed it. Picked up their second win of the season and get some momentum because Kyle Larson's been the best car at Hendrick. So to see another Hendrick car get a victory and our reigning cup champ to get momentum on his side, because usually they're not so good when it comes to the summer, this is a good way to kind of put aside the summer slump for them. Can they carry it forward? We'll see in the upcoming weeks. Number 2, Toyota. They had quite a weekend and quite a really solid performance all race today. 3 of the top 5 finishers were Joe Gibbs Racing cars. Christopher Bell finished in 2nd, Kyle Busch in 3rd, Denny Hamlin 5th, and Martin Truex Jr., who probably was a contender early on until he got caught for speeding on his pit stop towards the end of stage 2, which put him in the rear of the field, was able to rebound to get a 9th place run. Had Truex not been caught for speeding, I think he could have been battling it out for the win. But we'll never know. But for the other Gibbs cars, good performances, particularly for Christopher Bell. The team has not had a top 5 since April, I believe. That's what I said, April or March. That's unbelievable. I mean, they already have a win this year, which was at a road course at Daytona, and they did very well in that race. They really needed this. They needed some momentum because the last few weeks for them have just kind of been pretty mediocre for the organization. But to get a solid run today can get the momentum and show that they could be a dominant force on the road courses. Kyle Busch, we all know how good he is when it comes to road courses. Won the Xfinity race yesterday, his 101st NASCAR Xfinity Series win, which he said after I get 100 wins, I'm done. Well, he's still got one more race to run next weekend. But after that, he's done for the year and probably done in Xfinity period. He had another solid performance today in a backup car. In practice yesterday, Kyle Busch went around into kink on the back straightaway and got damage to his right side of the car. So they had to go to a backup. They didn't even bother to qualify early this morning. But like Chase Elliott, they progressively worked their way through the field, and they looked to be a factor to win the race in late. But he just didn't have enough tires and probably not enough grip on the racetrack to handle with the 9 team or any of the other guys up front. But Joe Gibbs Racing in general, and Denny Hamlin, a top 5 finish after he said his brakes were pretty bad, and he went around earlier in the race after some problems. But the whole Toyota team in general did a good job today. Joe Gibbs Racing, solid performance overall by the whole team. We've seen how dominant Hendrick has been with all 4 of the drivers overall. This weekend was a perfect weekend for Joe Gibbs Racing to come together and have all 4 of their drivers in the top 10. So kudos to JGR. Number 3, Chip Ganassi Racing. After everything that has gone through this week regarding their team being purchased by Trackhouse Racing, effective immediately at the end of the 2021 season, both drivers, and Kurt Busch and Ross Chastain, need to come in this weekend and have solid performances, as they know that Chip Ganassi's time as a NASCAR owner and as a team is winding down. And both of them today executed perfectly, particularly Kurt Busch. A 4th place finish, got some much needed stage points. Kurt Busch is now 25 points above the cutoff line ahead of Chris Buescher. I mean, we all know when Kurt Busch gets consistent, the results and the points begin to gain for him in this one team. When they get consistent, they can get close to getting a victory in this series. They did a really solid job overall today, getting a 4th place out of it. They started off in the top 15, worked their way to the front, and continued to fight their way towards the front in general. So the one team did a good job. And Ross Chastain, who we really don't think is known for a road course racer, but definitely did a great job today, came away with a top 10 finish. I think he came home in the 7th place. 6th place? 7th place. He came home in 7th place. A really solid performance overall for the team. And knowing that, again, that Ganassi's time is up at the end of 2021, one of these drivers, or both of these drivers, are determined to get into victory lane and get Ganassi at least one more victory, or maybe even a couple in the Cup Series before they shut operations down. But overall, Ganassi, with everything that's gone through this weekend, they did a good job. As for the team that is going to be purchasing their assets in Trackhouse, not so lucky today. Daniel Suarez had a transmission failure in the race. Same exact issue that happened to them at COTA earlier a couple months ago. So they got to work on their transmissions and making sure they don't break in these road course races. But, you know, that really shocked the NASCAR community this weekend, including myself. And as far as both those Ganassi drivers, they're jobless for next year, but both are in talks with Trackhouse to be one of the drivers. Of course, Kurt Busch is rumored to possibly go to the second 2311 entry should they start it up next year and acquire a charter. But both drivers were able to just keep the drama of Trackhouse purchasing Ganassi at the end of the year behind them and have good results today. Number 4, the strategy today, with all the different strategies when it comes to staying out for stage points or putting yourself in position for the win, was just phenomenal today. We saw a lot of guys stay out for stage points that needed them, like a Tyler Reddick and a Kurt Busch, and even a couple other guys that were a little far down in points and probably not going to be able to point their way in unless they can get really hot at the right time. The other guys, like an Elliott, a Truex, a Kyle Busch, and even an Austin Cindric before he had a rear axle break, they put themselves in position all day with fast race cars and wanted to pit early on before the end of the stage so they could put themselves in position towards the end of the race with track position and not being back in that swarm of cars on the restarts. The strategy at road course races is very intriguing. It's very interesting because we see a lot of teams decide, do we want stage points or do we want track position to put ourselves in position to get a victory? It's an interesting combination. I mean, in the past, road course racing, you got to time yourself with the cautions. If you're the leader and you pit and everybody else doesn't pit and a caution comes out, you're pretty much screwed. But if everybody else pits and, cautions can change things up. They did towards the end of the race when Ryan Blaney and Eric Almirola pitted, knowing when Anthony Alfredo went around and got stuck in the gravel, they pitted thinking they could take advantage of it. And they did for the moment. They got themselves in the front row on the last restart of the race, but both of them backslided, particularly Blaney. He fell way behind. Almirola was able to get a top 15 out of it today. The interesting strategy of road course racing is just very fascinating and it's fun to watch. And number 5, the racing and the atmosphere the whole weekend in Road America, perfect. I mean, what better way to come to this facility for the first time in 56 years, over 23,700 days since the last time the Cup Series ran here, all those years ago, where Roger Penske was behind the wheel for one of those races and did a little segment where he narrated how to get around this track. It was just a very eventful race. The racing was exciting, a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of battles. I think a lot of guys can learn more from when we come back here next year, most likely on 4th of July weekend. But to race on 4th of July at Road America, the track that has America in the name, pretty good job. The fans, 100,000 fans there, the most since the Daytona 500 last year where there was full capacity before COVID became a problem. It just felt so good to see fans with the atmosphere all day today. They were all cheering at the end for Chase Elliott, in the turn 5, which turns into victory lane. Do a burnout because you're in the front stretch. Do it for us. I mean, the atmosphere by the whole crowd in general was just amazing. All dressed in red, white, and blue, supporting our country and everything on an Independence Day. A very fun and eventful weekend at Road America in general. I say they did a great job. The race product was good. It will be very interesting to see how this race shakes out when we come back here next year. And I'd like to again close up and say happy 4th of July to everybody out there. True, we may have our flaws at times, but one thing's for certain, we are one of the greatest countries in the world. Even, some people may agree, some people may disagree, but most of all, we are a strong nation, united as one. And I love the red, white, and blue. I'm proud to be an American. God bless America. God bless the USA. God bless everybody out there today. Celebrate your freedom. This is we get to celebrate being in the free world that we live in today in America. But this is a very special day with our colors. It's our 245th birthday as a free country since we signed the Declaration of Independence. On this day in 1776, where Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and the rest of the founding fathers got together, or not the founding fathers, most of the Sons of Liberty got together and were able to sign the Declaration of Independence to Great Britain, say, we want to be a free country, not under your tyranny, not under your rule. And we are strong Americans. I love this country so much. I love the red, white, and blue. I love our military. But I also love shooting things off when it comes to fireworks. Probably not this year because it's a little different for me as far as my normal 4th of July celebration, but probably by next year things will go back to normal for me and more normal 4th of July tradition. But still get to celebrate with some racing today, hamburger, and wearing the official flag of the U.S. on my shirt. Pretty creative. So that is it from this incredible 4th of July weekend at Road America. The Road Course King dominates once again. Next week, he'll be returning to his home track in Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta Motor Speedway's got a second race this year, replacing Kentucky Speedway, because the product at Kentucky the last couple of years, let's face it, has just been kind of dull. The finishes the last 2 years have been pretty fun, but other than that, not a lot to be excited about. But this time around, we're going to Atlanta, where it's going to be hot, slick, and the tires are going to get a beating out of that track. When you put those tires are good for 5-10 laps, and after that, they are just gone. So manage your tires properly next week. And a little shorter than the normal race that we have in the spring. This is a 400-mile race, so it's 260 laps, but still tires will be a big conversation overall. So will today's Road Course King carry off into his home track next weekend and win? Will Hendrick Motorsports still stay hot with Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, the 9 car? Or will Joe Gibbs with Truex and Kyle Busch and Hamlin get on track and continue to compete with Hendrick? Or will Kevin Harvick succeed by Harvicking the bottom and getting his first victory of the season? A lot of questions remain to be answered next weekend, and hope you all tune in for the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart next weekend in Atlanta. So subscribe, like. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Congrats to our winner, Chase Elliott at Road America. A great weekend overall. God bless America. I love you. I love you guys. Thanks for watching my content. Have a great 4th of July. Ciao. And once again, I'm proud to be an American. Bye.